All right, we're gonna clean it using a brass brush. So we're gonna put a little soap on the brass brush, get a little bit of water there, and then we're just gonna scrub the whole thing. Usually it doesn't take very long. As long as you didn't heat either one of these up at this point, this should clean pretty quickly. Just use a little bit of soap, some warm water. Make sure you scrub to get all the way down in that little crack and crevice. All right, rinse it off. You can see it's nice and shiny now. So that should have cleaned all of the material off, all the dirt off of there. We're gonna then dry it. Try to limit the amount you touch it. You can touch it from the edge like that. And we're gonna head over here to the soldering screen and we're gonna get it set up to solder. Now, you wanna be sure that you have enough flux on here. This will not solder, or you won't be able to put the solder on there if you don't have enough flux on there to hold it in place. If your flux dries, all the little solder chips will fall off. So I flux all the sides. You're only gonna get maybe 4 or 5 solder chips. And the way I put it on is I grab the solder chip with tweezers. I put my hand underneath just in case it falls. And then I'm going to put these right in these little cracks and crevices. And I'm going to spread them out. You do not need a solder chip in each one. We'll put one right there. Now I have them spread out along there, sitting in those little cracks and crevices. Now I'm ready to light the torch. Now, you got to be careful heating this because these little solder chips will fly off of there. So I'm going to heat very slowly here. I'm just brushing the torch on here and I'm watching the flux. As the flux starts to bubble, I'm going to take the torch off. I do not want those solder chips to bubble off of there. So this part here, you got to really take your time and really heat slowly. Now the flux is starting to turn white for me, so that tells me it's about dry. I'm still watching it because it's still kind of bubbling. I don't want those pieces to slide off of there. I can start to apply a little more heat. You notice that the hottest part now, that blue cone, is getting closer to it. And I'm moving all the way along the ring like this, back and forth, with the hottest part of the torch. I'm watching the flux, and the flux is starting to clear. Now I'm going to start here at this one end, and I'm going to work my way down. And I'm going to notice they're going to melt into a little ball, and then they're going to flow out. See that little ball there? It's hard to see maybe. Just work your way down. Each one of these little solder chips should fill up that seam. I'm going to make sure I see that silver line going all the way down the ring, and then I cut the torch. At this point, I'm ready to quench it in the water and then pickle it. It needs to solder from end to end in order to be able to make this ring properly. So we'll pickle it at this point for 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll have to start to form the actual ring.